Hello, welcome. I'm Dr. Lee, and if this is your first time joining us, thank you for participating with us. We are a naturopathic clinic in Richmond, British Columbia, and our team's gotten together to provide some content, health tips, things like that, just to support everyone as we're going through a bit of a rough patch together. Being quarantined and just battling this virus there. So I hope that all the content is helpful for you, and our team is really excited to share this. So we encourage you, if you can, just share this with your friends. And today we're going to be talking about the power of habits and routines in the time of quarantine. Now, as I was preparing for the talk today, I was just kind of smiling to myself. I probably should have titled it something a little bit better. I don't know if that really draws a big crowd with a title like that. I probably should have titled it how to lose weight during quarantine time, or how to get a six-pack during quarantine time. And I kind of chuckled to myself because I think if I did name that, I'd probably get a lot of people, and all those are part of like good habits. And I hope that, if after listening to this talk today, you can implement some of these tips and just help you get some good habits in place. Now, this is my second Facebook Live event, and there's still a couple of technical things that I'm trying to figure out there. So bear with me. If I don't see any of your questions, I'll try to answer them in the summary. But if just to make sure that you can all hear me, can I just see a few comments just to say hi, or just to make sure that this is all connected well? I'm not sure if I can see that just yet. Let me see. Can someone just write something real quick there? Oh, good. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate that. Okay. There's one thing that Dr. Neetu did mention to me. She said there's something called a watch party, and I don't know what that means, but I think she said that encourage all the people that are watching to click on that, and I think more of your friends will see this. So if you can please click on that, that would be fantastic. And we really want to be that shining light to all of you just during this difficult time. And before I can launch into my topic, I just want to say one more thing. I invite you to all reach out to somebody on the phone or through a text message, and just to know that you're thinking about them. I'm having a few friends who are having a lot of difficulty in this time right now. There's just a lot of, they're suffering from a lot of mental health issues. And I know that anxiety, depression, that fear really impacts the immune system. So what I've actually decided to do next Saturday, I'm going to be taking a bit of a deeper dive into how mental health really affects our immunity and bring some solutions to that. So I'm going to be doing that next Saturday. It's going to be a little bit of a longer time. So please come and join me. So, okay, today's topic, we're talking about the power of habits and routine. And so I'm going to start off by just talking about why rhythm and routine is important, and then also share with you how I build good habits in my life. Now, I think most people, when they hear of rhythms and routines, it comes across as, okay, this is common sense. But we all know that good habits and good routines, guide us towards better health, guide us towards optimal health. And we also know that our body and our minds really thrive when we can really listen to our natural biological rhythms. And if you've been with us for the past week, you've heard the different doctors talk about that. And I'll go into that a little bit later. One thing that I really enjoy doing is I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to just studying things like psychology, social psychology, and I kind of combined a couple of things. I've been reading a lot about healthy individuals, and I've also read a lot about just really successful people, entrepreneurs that are very successful, small business people. And one thing that I see that they all have in common is they all have these healthy routines, and they all have these healthy habits there. For example, I have a neighbor. She is the PE teacher, and she is super healthy. She's so good with her routines there. And even though she can't right now during this quarantine time, she's not able to go to her group workouts there. But she's working out. She's exercising daily. Another person I think about is maybe on the business side is Bill Gates. You might have heard of Bill Gates. He, routinely reads, I think, like over 50 books a year. So that's like one a week consistently, and he remembers everything. And if you ask all these people, is it difficult for them to do their habits and their routines? And they all answered no. It's something that is quite easy for them. It's easy for them to exercise daily. It's easy for them to read a book regularly. So what I see from that pattern is a lot of them have these good habits on autopilot. And our brain has this amazing ability to go into autopilot. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes when I'm driving home and it's the same route that I'm going down Steveston Highway, and that's when I kind of process things, or I'm daydreaming, and then the next thing I know, I'm home, and it was a very safe commute. There was no accidents or anything like that, but I was just kind of on autopilot there. And I don't know if you've experienced that with chores that you might be doing. You are on autopilot there. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if we could learn how to turn on our good habits and get them onto autopilot? And that's what I want to explore with you. So learning how to get our good habits onto that autopilot there. So we'll explore that in a moment there. I want to talk a little bit about how our bodies thrive in natural rhythms there. And for those who don't know me, I'm both a TCM doctor, so it's a traditional Chinese medicine, as well as a naturopathic doctor. And during my studies, it's actually two separate programs. And I really enjoyed studying Chinese medicine. And they right off the bat, we started learning about how TCM really focuses, and they're really good at seeing the natural rhythms around the earth. So the natural rhythms around seasonal changes, the moon cycles, the circadian rhythms. And an example would be the growth rhythms that we have. That's something that you might not have heard of before, but for females, there's a sort of a 7-year cycle, and every 7 years something changes in the body. So for young girls, or at age 14, typically that's when menstrual cycle starts, right? Or at age 49, 7 times 7, that's when menopause happens. And for men, it's usually an 8-year cycle, and at 16 years old, this is when puberty often happens for young males there. So I just wanted to share with you that how Chinese medicine has really looked at a lot of these important rhythms, and that's how we treat our patients. We get them back into balance. And when I started studying biology or physiology, this is the same thing that we're seeing at a cellular level, and we're seeing on a hormonal level. And one of the things I love to do with whether they're my athletes or just everyday patients, I really try to get them on a good sleep cycle. And the reason for that is we know that growth hormones gets released at a certain time. So if you have a good sleep pattern, chances are you're going to have that consistent growth hormone that gets released to help heal your body, to help treat aches and pains. So, and Dr. Nitu talked about this. I think in one of her talks, she talked about adrenals, and adrenals really thrive when we have good rhythms. Dr. Karen talked about this when she talked about gut health. Gut health really thrives when we have regular meals there. So all that is quite important. And there is this, what I call this elegant efficiency, when you can let your body go to a real natural rhythm. So with that said, if we understand that following our biological rhythms are super important, and we understand that our good or bad habits influence these rhythms, doesn't it make sense for us to learn how to master our habits to achieve optimal health? So, and that's what I really want to help my patients experience, really mastering some of these important habits there. And a few days ago, when I did my first Facebook Live, we talked about boosting immune system. And I said that this is such a crucial time for us to really strengthen our immune system. And I hope you can bring in some of these good habits right now that we're going to talk about. And really boost your immune system, because this is, in reading from a lot of experts, this is the calm before the storm. So I really encourage you to really take the time to bolster your immunity right now. Okay, now we're going to switch gears a bit. We're going to talk about how I build, good rhythm and good habits in my life. Okay, so just now I made a case of just how important it is for just natural rhythms in the body and the good reason for us to have habits. Now we're going to talk about, how to actually set some good habits there. And I've broken up this half of the talk into sort of two parts. I'm going to start off by just giving some really simple guidelines, just really simple tips that you can follow. And if you can follow them regularly, I really believe that you're going to start noticing some good health changes there. So the simple tips that I have, I'm just going to start off with 3. The first one I'm going to recommend is wake up at the exact same time every day. Okay? And you might have expected me to say sleep at the same time every day, but no, I'm actually going to encourage you to get into the habit of waking up at the same time every day. And what I've learned working with my patients over the years is when they commit to waking up at the same time every day, eventually their circadian rhythms can adjust. The first week might be a little bit more challenging and you might have a bit of difficulty, falling asleep, but eventually your body will adjust to that. So if you have kids, for example, try to maybe wake up a half an hour before they wake up, if that's possible. And be consistent with it. Set a time, set your own time, and wake up regularly. And try to do something special for yourself. Take that time to read a book, maybe fit in a workout, or even do like a meditation or something like that. So that's the first thing I'm going to recommend. Secondly, eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the same time every day for this coming week. So set up a schedule of when you're going to be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you can build your schedule around that. And be as consistent as possible. And again, these ideas, they sound super simple, but really commit to them for the next couple of weeks, and you're really going to start seeing some changes happen. And the last thing I want you to do that's super simple is commit to drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Now, I'm saying 8 glasses, but do a plus or minus 2 glasses. If you're a person that doesn't normally drink that much water, start with 6 glasses. If you're a person that drinks a lot of water, 10 glasses is definitely not too much for you. So commit to drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water if you're a healthy individual a day. And all of that, it sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? These aren't complex things that I'm recommending. I just want you to keep to those 3 simple tips there. And pay attention to how you feel over the next couple of weeks. And again, when I have my patients do these simple tips, most of them start observing some changes. They start realizing that, whoa, my bowel movements are a lot more regular, or my sleep cycle is a lot more regular. So those are the simple tips there. And now I'm going to be talking a little bit more about maybe some advanced recommendations and some of the things that I've used to help me improve my habits there. And I'm going to go through this rather quickly, but you're going to have this video available. We're going to upload it to YouTube, and you're going to have my summary. So please feel free. You can just stop, rewind, and watch this over again. But the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be talking about incorporating several mechanisms or several habits that you can do to really solidify and really transform into a good habit there. Okay, let me be a lot more clear about this. So over the next 30 days, if you're up for this challenge, I want you to pick one thing that you've always really wanted to do. Just pick one thing. For example, what comes to my mind is what I want to do is be able to do 25 pull-ups in a row Okay, that's a simple goal that I want to accomplish. I know some of my patients want to, maybe during this quarantine period, they want to work at losing 15 pounds over this next 30 days. I've had patients tell me that they want to quit smoking, over this, or quit vaping. They know that this virus is really affecting their lungs. So one of their goals is to quit smoking. I think those are all fantastic ideas. And I'm going to share with you, now that you have one in mind, I'm going to share with you sort of 3 strategies that I'm going to recommend. So strategy 1 is we're going to talk about personal motivation. Strategy 2 is we're going to involve people, friends to help us. Strategy 3, we're going to really create that right environment so that habit becomes a lot easier. Okay, let me talk about personal motivation. And what I mean by personal motivation is it's really important for you to get really clear why you want to accomplish this task. I want you to write down every single reason you can think of why you want to accomplish this task, why you want to reach this goal, and really put a lot of emotions around it. For example, I give you my pull-ups idea. I want to be able to do pull-ups because, to prevent any back pain. I sit at a desk a lot. I read a lot, and I'm in front of a computer a lot. So I really want to prevent having this chronic back pain there. So I think if I can train and strengthen my body, that is going to be incredibly helpful there. When we're back into everyday life, I'm going to be playing hockey again. So I really want to make sure that I don't injure myself. So those are some reasons that I'm thinking about. If you're wanting to lose weight, losing 15 pounds over the next 30 days, part of your list could be, I really want to minimize the amount of stress and pain in my joints there. Or I want to lose that weight so I have a lot more energy so I can play with my grandkids. Or I want to reduce my risk of diabetes or reduce my risk of having a weak lungs. Like whatever it is, I just want you to spend that time for this personal motivation section is take that time to list every good reason why. And what you're going to do at the end of having this list is I want you to write down this personal motivation statement. Be crystal clear why you want to accomplish this goal. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm going to start off with. Now, secondly, I said involve people. See if you can have some people that can help you accomplish this goal. Now, I'm going to go back to a patient that's really memorable where we worked on a strategy of quit smoking. And this individual, he smoked for over 40 years of his life. And this was a strong addiction, a strong habit. And we started, he had a really powerful personal statement. He actually was a granddad, and it made very clear to him that he could not spend time with the grandkids if he was a smoker. So that was a real powerful personal motivation for him. He wanted to spend time with his grandkids. So he really, had that in his personal statement. It's like, I have to quit because I love my grandkids. I want to spend time with them. And then I started helping him look at his whole environment. During his breaks, at 10:15, used to going out and smoking with the same group of people. And I really challenged him. I said, you have to break this kind of, getting used to the same, going out at the same time. You really have to break this habit. And you have to explain to some of these friends that, they are unfortunately enabling you to smoke. So he had to make a couple of tough decisions and really, disassociate with this group of friends for the time being. And what I encouraged him to do was, find people that can really support him. So he was very lucky. He had a wife that was really incredibly supportive there. He had a couple of good friends that checked in on him. And what he also did is he put this out on social media. He just let everyone know that, hey, this is important for me. I'm going to do that. And he had so many people support him. So that was really helpful. So he had a great personal motivation. He incorporated a good group of people around him to help him achieve this goal. And thirdly, what he did was he set up a good environment. And what he did was, I had him, throw out all the ashtrays, throw out his lighters, throw out his cigarettes, and I also had him go out and where he normally buys his cigarettes, talk to them and say, look, I have to quit because I want to spend time with my grandkids. Make it impossible for me to buy cigarettes. If I cave in and I have this addiction and I come to you to buy cigarettes, turn me away. Like, we really created an environment where it was really difficult for him to pick up a cigarette again. And another example is if you want to lose weight, and one of the difficulties is you always snack late at night. You're watching a movie and you love snacking on junk food. So be very intentional. Get rid of all of that junk food. Go clean out your cupboard. And again, this is the best time. I've talked about just getting the sugar out of your cupboards there, and replace it with some good things. Replace it with fruit, something healthier. Put some nuts and seeds or hummus there, or even what Dr. Karen was teaching the other day. Really practice that fasting right before bedtime. Your body will thank you for that. And so I wanted to give you sort of those are examples of an environment, making the environment easier for you to complete this habit. Now, I want to actually share with you a personal example of how I implemented this. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, I was learning a new acupuncture. I was taking courses to do a different style of acupuncture. Again, for the patients that know me, I do this unique style called a balance method. I learned from Dr. Richard Tan, and it's an awesome style of acupuncture, but it took a lot of time for me to study. Now, about 5, 6 years ago, that was a very busy time in my life. I had young kids there, and I had a full thriving practice, and I decided I wanted to go and take these courses there. So the only time that I could fit this into my schedule was to study at between 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Now, if you know me, I'm a night owl, and it's terribly hard for me to get up early. Now, nowadays it is a little bit easier, but thank you for Kayla for the energy. I love this story, and I hope that this is a good example to just motivate people. But I trained myself to get up at 5:30 to start studying, and wait till you hear what I had to do to sort of instill this as a good habit there. So I first started with my personal motivation, and my personal motivation was I made it really clear why I wanted to do this. I wanted to be the first acupuncturist in my area to be able to do this style. I knew that I could help a lot more people. I was working with a lot of athletes at that time, and it was a very good type of a style. And just to give you a little bit of clarity, like the balance method is very different. Like in acupuncture school, if somebody has a shoulder pain, we're taught to put needles in the shoulder there. That works there. But the balance method is we don't put needles in this. We actually put needles somewhere else in the body and through the meridian system, miraculously, and it's really amazing through this meridian system. I could relieve shoulder pain. And it works really well with athletes because often if I'm treating a shoulder pain, they've just injured their shoulder. There's a lot of inflammation going on there. So I don't like to put needles there. So that's a bit of background of why I really wanted to study this type of acupuncture. Now, so I was very clear with my personal motivation, and I knew that if I became very good at this, I would attract a lot more patients. That would help, grow my practice there. So I was very clear on why I wanted to do this. And secondly, I recruited a lot of people in my life to help me. So my wife was super supportive of this. She knew that, okay, if you have to get up early, you're going to have to sleep early. So, we can't have our chats at nighttime as much. Maybe we'll just cut it down to, we'll chat a little bit earlier in the evening, or, we'll have our date nights during the weekends there. So she was incredibly supportive of this. She understood that this was really important for me. And then the other group of friends that I got involved was actually my hockey team, which I didn't intend to do that initially because I had to tell the guys that, sorry, in order for me to accomplish this goal, I can't play those late games. I can't stay up late because I'm just way too wired when I come back from hockey. And a lot of my friends understood. And in fact, a lot of them just ended up supporting me. They would check in with me and say, "Hey, Jeff, how's it going? Are you, I hope the studying's going well. We miss you. We need you in playoffs. So, come back." So it was just really encouraging. So I had the friends supporting me. And the last thing that I also did was the environment. And I had a lot of fun with this. And back then I had this Fitbit watch, and my Fitbit would would go off at about 9 p.m. So that was around the time that I needed to start unwinding. So at around 9 p.m. it would go off, and I start slowing things down. I start preparing for sleep there. And then I also had the same alarm that would wake me up at about 5:20 in the morning. And I knew that I'm not a morning person. So I knew that all I had to do was sit in my chair. So I made it so simple for me. And I hate being cold in the morning, and I just knew I needed to sit in my chair. So I would lay out my overcoat or a jacket. So once the alarm went off, all I had to do was your mission is just to sit on this chair. So I'd put my jacket on and I would sit on my chair. If I can sit down in the chair in my office there, I'm successful, because once I'm in my chair, this is what I've done. I had my personal motivation statement right in front of me, and I would read it, and that would get me mentally excited again. Why I'm sacrificing my sleep, why I'm excited about learning this. That would just kind of get me in that zone there. On my desk, I had this special light that would, keep me. It was a SAD light, a seasonal affective disorder light. That I would turn on. It's bright. It just kind of wakes me up there. And once I had those in place, I was ready. And what I did to really lock in this good habit is I love playing games. For those that know me there, I love playing different strategy games there. So I actually turned it into a little bit of a game there. I gamified this thing. And it's going to sound really silly, but it totally worked for me. I actually set up 2 jars, and I took out a stack of $10 bills from the bank, and every time I would follow through and finish studying, I would place this $10 bill into the jar, and I labeled that jar, "This is my ski fund." And I wanted to take the family on family day long weekend for a ski vacation, and that's what I kind of started with. Every time I'm successful at studying, I would put $10 in that fund. And that was awesome. I really wanted to do that. Now, I also did this punishment at the same time. I had this separate jar that I labeled my landlord jar. Now, understand this. During that time, our landlord, he just made it just really miserable for us. He just had these kind of demands on us that just we didn't appreciate. So I put a jar that said landlord jar, and I really did not want to buy him a Christmas present. But if I didn't follow through with waking up and studying, I didn't want to put more $10 bills in that jar, in the landlord jar. So I was actually, I incorporated all of these things. So the personal motivation, the people around me, the environment, and I nailed it. I think out of those 3 months, I only missed 2 days of study, and that's actually because I was a little bit sick. I was a little bit under the weather, but I had to put the $20 in that landlord jar, and ended up buying him a flower for Christmas. But I'm glad I didn't buy him a huge gift there. So I hope that gives you sort of an example of how I was able to, use some of these techniques and tactics to really solidify some of these good habits there. And so I want you to please rewatch this. I know some of you joined us a little bit later. Watch this, and for those of you, just start with some of the simple challenges. But for some of you who really want to transform kind of your habit and your health, I really challenge you. Try to implement some of these things that I talked about. And again, I really want to be of service to you. So if something doesn't make sense, or if you want me to come back and maybe go in more details about something, or even do a master class or something like that, please comment. Again, I'm trying to figure out all the details of using Facebook Live, so I'm kind of watching out for certain comments there. But if I miss any, and if I didn't respond to any, just keep writing them, and I'll do my best to sort of go back and figure it out. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I enjoy kind of doing this now. At first, I was super nervous, but now this is, I think, really fun getting a chance to share with all of you some of the things that we're doing to stay healthy during this time. Please share this with your friend and with all your friends there. And yeah, look forward to the next time we chat. Take care.